By sunrise, Jackie Christie's name was everywhere. Not for her reality show, not for her marriage, but for a secret she had allegedly buried decades ago. Leaked court documents, stamped, dated, and marked confidential, hit the internet without warning. They claimed Jackie had been financially supporting a young woman in Los Angeles for over 15 years. But that wasn't what sent shockwaves across the city. It was what the documents implied. That this woman wasn't just someone Jackie helped. She was her biological daughter, born long before Jackie ever met her husband, Doug Christie. The internet erupted. Twitter threads turned into investigations. TikTok sleuths dug up photos. One user wrote, "Look at their eyes. Same shape, same smile." Jackie can't hide this anymore, and soon, every gossip outlet from TMZ to the Shade Room was running with the same headline: Jackie Christie's secret heiress, the hidden child that could destroy a dynasty. Behind closed doors, things were worse, much worse. Neighbors near the Christie's gated mansion told reporters that paparazzi had camped outside all night. One neighbor claimed, "They didn't even turn their lights on. It's like they were hiding." Inside, sources say the atmosphere was unbearably tense. Doug barely spoke. Jackie was seen pacing the hallways, phone glued to her ear, eyes swollen from crying. Someone close to the family told reporters, Jackie kept saying this would ruin her, that no one would understand what really happened. As the story spread, the internet turned cruel. Old interviews resurfaced, Jackie calling herself the most honest woman in Hollywood. Clips were replayed with new meaning. Every word, every look, every nervous laugh, dissected and repackaged into a viral scandal. Meanwhile, eagle-eyed fans noticed something else. Family friends started deleting old photos. Entire posts vanished overnight. Pictures of Doug and Jackie smiling with their kids, family barbecues, even holiday portraits. The message was clear. People were distancing themselves. Fast. By the third day, it wasn't just gossip. It was legal. Reporters outside the LA County Courthouse captured footage of sealed envelopes being hand-delivered to Jackie's legal team. Speculation exploded. What was inside? A lawsuit? A paternity test request? An anonymous insider whispered to Page 6, "Whatever's coming next will shake that family to its core." As Doug Christie left practice that night, cameras caught him lowering his head, refusing to answer questions. But his silence said everything. The tension, the betrayal, the disbelief. He knew what was coming, and when the subpoenas hit Doug's doorstep, the real drama began. There was another Jackie, one the world was never supposed to see. In the mid-1990s, Los Angeles was alive with neon. Every night was a party. Velvet ropes, champagne towers, and the promise of becoming somebody. And Jackie Christie was everywhere. She wasn't just walking red carpets. She was owning them. Designers begged her to wear their clothes. Rappers name-dropped her in lyrics. NBA players whispered her name like it was a secret they all wanted to keep, but behind the glamour, there was noise. Noise. Jackie couldn't silence. Tabloids started running strange stories. Unnamed sources talking about a child. A baby girl born in secret. The rumors were brushed off as jealous gossip. Publicists called them fiction. But a handful of reporters never stopped asking questions. One old magazine headline still haunts collectors today. Jackie's Vanishing Act, the mysterious year she disappeared. According to those who knew her back then, that year, 1994, was when Jackie vanished from the LA scene entirely. No appearances, no interviews, no photos, and when she finally returned, something about her had changed. Gone was the wild, carefree socialite. In her place stood a woman sharper, quieter, and more guarded. Someone who had learned the cost of being seen. A former assistant, whose identity remains hidden, broke their silence years later. "There was always a secret," they said softly. Jackie never let anyone near that part of her life. They described nights when Jackie would sit in the dark, clutching her phone, whispering to someone on the other end. Sometimes she'd cry, sometimes she'd smile, but she never explained who was on the line. Then, just when the world thought Jackie had disappeared for good, fate introduced her to Doug Christie. It wasn't in a nightclub. It wasn't at a party. It was at a charity basketball event in downtown Los Angeles. She was there as a guest of a mutual friend. He was there signing autographs for kids. Their first photo together is almost cinematic. Jackie in a white dress, Doug laughing beside her, unaware that moment would change both of their lives forever. Doug was everything Jackie wasn't used to. Grounded, humble, safe. He didn't care about gossip columns or after parties. He cared about her. And for the first time in years, Jackie felt seen. Their relationship moved fast. Whirlwind fast. Within a year, they were inseparable. By 2001, they were married. The press called them the power couple of the NBA. A love story built on loyalty, unity, and devotion. But that image, the perfect marriage, the yearly vow renewals, the endless declarations of love, was built on something else, too. Something unspoken. Something Jackie thought she had buried for good. Because as Doug's career rose and the cameras turned toward them, whispers from Jackie's past began resurfacing in quiet corners of Hollywood. Old acquaintances came forward. A woman claimed she saw Jackie with a baby years earlier. A baby she never spoke of again. Others mentioned letters, secret visits, unexplained absences. Doug brushed it all off as jealousy. Jackie called it noise. But deep down, she knew noise had a way of becoming thunder. And somewhere in a small apartment on the east side of Los Angeles, a young woman grew up watching Jackie Christie on TV. The woman who looked just like her. She didn't say anything. Not yet, but one day, she would. Inside was a legal notice demanding DNA testing. The letter claimed the young woman at the center of the scandal wasn't Jackie's secret at all. It claimed she might be his. The alleged daughter lowered her gaze, whispering almost to herself, "I never asked for this. I just wanted to know the truth." The line hit like a thunderclap. Even the judge paused, briefly, silently, before clearing his throat. "Order in the court," he warned. "Let's maintain decorum." But the tension lingered, thick and heavy, like smoke after a fire. Jackie's breathing quickened. Her lawyer whispered for her to sit down, but she didn't. Instead, she stared straight at Doug. "Tell them, Doug," she said, voice cracking. "Tell them what we lost." Doug looked torn, half broken, half guilty. He didn't speak. And that silence spoke louder than any confession ever could. By the end of the day, the courtroom felt more like a battlefield than a legal proceeding. As the bailiff escorted Jackie out, a courtroom sketch artist in the front row was already etching her tear-streaked face onto paper. Within hours, that drawing, Jackie, broken and defiant, mascara streaked down her cheeks, would go viral. It became the image of the trial. Every tabloid ran it with headlines like, "The Fall of Jackie, Hollywood's Cry for Truth." But just when the public thought they'd seen it all, the judge made an announcement that changed everything. His gavel hit the desk once. "Given the nature of the allegations," he said sternly, "this court is ordering an emergency DNA test." The courtroom gasped. Jackie's hand flew to her mouth. Doug closed his eyes. The alleged daughter began to cry. The reporters ran for the doors, desperate to break the news first. And as Jackie was led out by her attorney, someone in the crowd shouted, "What if she's telling the truth?" No one answered, because in that moment, everyone knew. The truth was no longer a matter of speculation. It was about to become scientific fact, and with that, the narrator's voice fell to a whisper. The test would reveal more than bloodlines. It would uncover betrayals buried for decades and destroy everything they thought they knew. Within 24 hours of the court order, Jackie's world began to crumble. Not slowly, but like a tower struck by lightning. Her sponsors vanished overnight. One by one, contracts that once made her millions were quietly re-evaluated. A luxury brand released a statement saying, "We wish Ms. Kensington the best during this personal time." In Hollywood language, that meant one thing: you're done. Production on her hit reality show was temporarily paused. Cameras stopped rolling. Crews were told to pack up. Rumors spread that several producers had already moved on to a spin-off, starring the alleged daughter, and online, it was a feeding frenzy. Hashtags exploded across social media. Bombard Team Heiress, a justice for her, liar in luxury. Former fans turned to critics overnight. Her Instagram comments filled with fire emojis, snake emojis, and brutal words like fraud, fake, and karma. A montage swept through the internet like wildfire. Clips of Jackie laughing on red carpets, old interviews where she bragged about honesty being her greatest virtue. And now, side by side with courtroom footage of her breaking down, screaming, "You don't know what I sacrificed?" One YouTuber titled his video, "Jackie's Empire of Lies, the Beginning of the End." It hit 1 million views in a single night, even those closest to her turned away. A childhood friend sold a tell-all interview, claiming Jackie always had a secret side. A former makeup artist released text screenshots, half redacted, but enough to sting. Tabloids called it a social suicide in real time. Then came the photo that shattered what little dignity remained. Doug, once her rock, her public defender, was spotted outside their Beverly Hills mansion, carrying 2 suitcases and a folded garment bag. He didn't look angry. He just looked tired. When reporters asked where he was headed, he muttered one word under his breath: away. By evening, gossip blogs posted grainy footage of his car pulling into a rented townhouse across town. The caption read, "Doug moves out, the end of the fairy tale." For days, Jackie didn't appear in public. Then one afternoon, paparazzi caught her sitting alone in her car outside a cafe, head in her hands, shoulders shaking. When someone asked if she had anything to say, she didn't speak. She just turned away, tears streaking her mascara, and whispered to herself, "It wasn't supposed to happen like this." The camera zoomed in on her trembling fingers gripping the steering wheel. That image, Jackie crying behind the wheel of her Bentley, became the symbol of her collapse. And as the narrator's voice fell to a haunting whisper, the final line echoed like a warning. In a world built on loyalty and lies, the line between truth and betrayal had vanished. And Jackie was standing right in the middle of it. When Doug finally spoke, the world stopped to listen. After weeks of silence, he appeared on a primetime interview, the kind reserved for fallen heroes and fractured families. The lights were low, the host's voice calm but cutting. Doug sat stiff in his chair, hands clasped, wedding ring still glinting under the studio glare. And then he said it. "I knew about the rumors years ago." The studio fell silent. Even the host seemed momentarily stunned. Doug's hands trembled as he read the words again, each sentence heavier than the last. He tried to breathe, but the room felt smaller with every second. For years, Doug had stood by Jackie through every headline, every fight, every rumor, every tear. But this was different, because this wasn't just about Jackie anymore. This was about him. That night, cameras caught Doug pacing the kitchen. The tension in the air was almost visible. 2 people, once inseparable, now orbiting in silence. Jackie sat at the table, staring down at her phone, eyes hollow. Doug's voice cracked the silence. "Tell me the truth, Jackie. Why is my name on this?" She didn't answer. Not right away. Just the faint sound of her phone buzzing. Messages pouring in, reporters begging for comments. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. "They're trying to destroy us, Doug. Don't give them that power." But it wasn't the press that scared him. It was the doubt. The tiny, poisonous seed that had been planted and was already growing. Their home, once filled with laughter, now echoed with silence. Dinners were quiet. Conversations short? Even the children could feel it. A family friend said. The kids started asking questions. They wanted to know why their parents weren't smiling anymore. Meanwhile, the outside world was feeding off their pain. Private texts leaked to gossip blogs. Relatives sold anonymous statements to tabloids. Doug's own brother allegedly told a reporter, "There's more to this story than they're admitting." It was betrayal. Not from strangers, but from blood. Inside the Christie home, the walls felt thinner by the day. Jackie locked herself in her office for hours, surrounded by lawyers and PR consultants. Doug, meanwhile, stayed downstairs, half listening to their voices through the walls. Each new word made him sink deeper into doubt. Was this all a mistake? Had his loyalty blinded him? Or was Jackie truly the woman he thought he knew? Late one evening, Doug found himself sitting in the dark, staring at their wedding photo. He could still remember that day. The way she laughed, the way he promised he'd never doubt her. But as the storm built outside their home, even the strongest vows began to crack. The family's attorney was now on speakerphone, his voice sharp and cold. "If you don't comply with the court order," he warned, "they'll move forward without you." Doug didn't respond. He just looked across the room where Jackie sat with her head in her hands. Finally, he broke the silence. His voice was barely audible, half rage, half heartbreak. "If this is true," he said quietly, "everything we built is a lie." 32 seconds that would tear apart a family, a career, and an entire city's obsession with a Hollywood fairy tale. Posted anonymously to X, formerly Twitter, the clip surfaced at exactly 2:17 a.m. Within minutes, hashtags began flooding timelines. Jackie lied. Namsa's buried truth. Her voicemail from hell. The voice? Shaky, breathless, furious. "You promised me this would stay buried." That one line was enough to ignite a digital inferno. At first, no one believed it. How could Jackie, the woman who'd spent years building a brand on grace and honesty, be behind such a desperate, angry recording? but the internet didn't wait for answers. It never does. Within hours, audio experts on YouTube began dissecting the clip frame by frame. They compared vocal wavelengths, speech cadence, even background hums that matched the marble echo of Jackie's Beverly Hills. Foyer.podcasters called it the most haunting leak in celebrity history. One even claimed they could hear someone else breathing in the background. Possibly Doug. And that was all it took. By sunrise, every major entertainment outlet had turned the recording into front-page chaos. Screenshots of Jackie's past interviews flooded TikTok. Fans slowed down her old clips, overlaying them with the voicemail's audio. When the two voices merged perfectly, the internet gasped. It's her. 100%. That's Jackie. But Jackie didn't flinch. At least not publicly. Her PR team issued a statement just hours later. The voice in that clip is not Jackie. The recording has been manipulated. Still, insiders whispered something else. Someone close to the family said Jackie had been visibly trembling after the leak. Another source claimed she'd thrown her phone across the room, yelling, "They weren't supposed to find it." Doug's reaction, however, told the real story. He was attending a children's charity gala in Malibu when a reporter showed him the clip. The cameras caught it all, his jaw locking, his eyes darting to the floor, the champagne flute trembling in his hand. For a man known for his composure, he suddenly looked like someone haunted by a truth he couldn't deny. He muttered only 5 words before leaving the event early. "I can't talk about that." The video of his exit went viral in less than an hour. By the next morning, Jackie's entire world was collapsing. Friends who once defended her began unfollowing her online. A-list acquaintances quietly pulled out of her upcoming charity gala. The tabloids went in for the kill, dubbing her Hollywood's best liar. Every photo of her smiling now looked sinister. Every red carpet moment, a mask, even her makeup line, Pure Truth, saw its sales plummet overnight. She was no longer the darling of daytime talk shows. She was the villain of every midnight headline. Still, through the chaos, one person refused to stay silent: the alleged heiress, the woman at the center of Jackie's scandal. She broke her silence on Instagram Live, her voice shaking but resolute. "All I ever wanted was the truth. That's it. I didn't mean for it to go this far." Her words hit like a thunderclap. Viewers flooded the comments with heart emojis, prayers, and disbelief. For the first time, the world began to wonder, maybe Jackie had buried something, and maybe, just maybe, that voicemail wasn't the lie everyone hoped it was. As the video ended, the camera zoomed out on a flickering candle beside Jackie's wedding photo. Her eyes seemed to follow the lens, as if she knew the storm had only just begun. The narrator's voice dropped to a whisper. But the truth was about to destroy everyone. Jackie, wrapped in a black trench coat, oversized sunglasses hiding eyes swollen from sleepless nights. She didn't wave. She didn't smile. She simply walked, stone-faced, through the chaos as 1,000 microphones were thrust toward her. Behind her trailed Doug, dressed in a navy suit, his expression unreadable. He kept his distance, 3 steps behind her, as if even proximity might burn. The crowd screamed questions. "Jackie, do you regret it? Doug, are you supporting her? Is it true about the child?" But neither said a word. The only sound was the echo of their shoes against the courthouse marble. And that silence, it was deafening. Inside, the air was thick, electric with tension. Reporters filled the back rows. Fans camped outside streamed live on TikTok. Every eye turned toward the witness stand as the alleged daughter rose slowly, clutching a folder of old, yellowing photographs. She couldn't have been more than 23. Her hands shook as she opened the file, voice trembling through the microphone. "These were taken when I was 6, she said softly. "That's my mother. That's her." She looked directly at Jackie. For a moment, time stopped. Jackie's lips parted, but no sound came out. She just stared, frozen between rage and heartbreak, as the photos were passed to the judge. Gasps rippled across the courtroom when the images appeared on the projector. Jackie, younger, smiling on a beach, holding a little girl who looked unmistakably like the witness now sitting before them. Jackie's lawyer stood quickly, voice sharp like a blade. "Objection, Your Honor! These photos are digitally altered, obvious forgeries meant to defame my client." The gallery erupted. Whispers, murmurs. A single cough echoed like a gunshot. The judge raised a hand for silence, but the damage was done. The seed of doubt had been planted. Then Jackie took the stand. The room fell silent as she removed her sunglasses, revealing eyes rimmed red and glistening. Her hands trembled as she gripped the edge of the podium. "I have stayed silent long enough," she began, voice quivering but fierce. "You don't know what I've lived through. You don't know what I sacrificed." Her words sliced through the courtroom like glass. For a moment, she wasn't the glamorous starlet on magazine covers. She was a mother, a woman unraveling in real time. Doug shifted in his seat, jaw tight, eyes glossy. Cameras caught him wiping away a tear, one single tear that rolled down his cheek before he turned away. Doug continued, voice trembling with the weight of regret. "There were whispers, stories that didn't add up, but I ignored them. Not because I believed Jackie was innocent, but because I wanted to believe our image was stronger than the truth." His eyes glistened. He looked tired, not just from sleepless nights, but from years of pretending everything was fine. The camera cut to old footage of Doug and Jackie smiling on red carpets, laughing in interviews, defending their unbreakable marriage. But in hindsight, those smiles looked rehearsed. The chemistry, forced. Doug took a long pause before speaking again. "Jackie made mistakes," he said softly, voice cracking. "But she's not the monster people think she is. She was trying to protect someone, maybe too much." For the first time, the audience didn't know who to blame. Some viewers wept. Others called him complicit. And yet, in that moment, Doug sounded less like a husband and more like a man confessing to a crime of silence. Within minutes, clips from the interview flooded every platform. Doug Speaks shot to the top of Twitter. Reaction videos filled YouTube. Podcasters called it the confession that changed everything. One fan wrote, "He's still protecting her, even now." Another replied, "Too little, too late." Doug sat through the backlash quietly, eyes fixed on the table, as though he already knew forgiveness wouldn't come easily. As the cameras prepared to cut, the host asked one final question. "Doug, if you could say one thing to Jackie right now, what would it be?" He hesitated, his voice barely above a whisper. "I just hope she forgives me for what I'm about to do next." The screen faded to black, and across social media, one question echoed louder than ever. What was Doug planning to do? The judge's voice was steady, clinical, but the words landed like a bomb. The DNA results confirm. The alleged daughter is not biologically related to Mrs. Jackie Christie. A ripple of gasps tore through the courtroom. Cameras clicked. Reporters froze mid-sentence. For a fleeting second, Jackie's expression shifted from fear to relief, a tear slipping down her cheek as she turned toward Doug. But then the judge continued. "However, she is biologically related to Mr. Doug Christie." The world stopped. Jackie's smile vanished. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. Doug lowered his head, eyes burning, unable to meet her gaze. The courtroom erupted. Gasps, shouts, flashing lights. Somebody whispered, "It was him all along." Across the world, social media detonated. Doug exposed. The real father. Hollywood's biggest lie clips of the announcement went viral within minutes. The judge's words replayed over and over like a haunting refrain. Fans who had once pitied Doug now turned on him. The devoted husband was suddenly the betrayer. Then came the flashback montage. Archival footage of Doug's old basketball tours. Grainy photos of him posing with fans. Late-night phone calls Jackie once brushed off as business. Moments that once seemed ordinary now felt drenched in deceit. The truth had been hiding in plain sight all along. Outside the courthouse, chaos erupted. Jackie stumbled down the marble steps, clutching her chest, sunglasses slipping from her face. Cameras swarmed, microphones thrust toward her trembling lips. One reporter shouted, "Jackie, did you know?" She didn't answer. She just whispered, "It was never me," before collapsing into her publicist's arms. That image, Jackie falling to her knees beneath a sky full of flashbulbs, became the defining photo of the scandal. And as the narrator's voice faded over slow, echoing piano notes, one final line lingered like smoke over the ashes. The truth didn't just set them free, it set fire to everything left standing. Days after the DNA bombshell, Jackie finally broke her silence. No press conference, no PR statement. Just a single, raw video posted to her social media. Filmed in dim lighting, her face bare, mascara running down her cheeks. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "I lost my husband. I lost my family. And I lost my peace. All because of secrets I didn't even keep." There was no anger in her tone. Just exhaustion. The kind that comes when a woman's world has burned to ash and she's still standing in the smoke. For 9 minutes, she poured her heart out. She talked about the betrayal, the years of silence, the pain of being blamed for someone else's lie. She said she forgave Doug, but not the world that turned her pain into entertainment. Everyone wanted a villain, she whispered. And I played the part because it was easier than proving my innocence. The video ended with her wiping her tears and saying softly, "Maybe the truth didn't destroy me. Maybe it just showed me who I really was." Within hours, the clip went viral. Millions of views, thousands of dueling comments. Some fans flooded her page with hearts and prayers. Others accused her of playing victim, of using tears for sympathy. Talk shows debated her sincerity. Podcasts dissected every word, every pause, every flicker of her eyes. But amid the noise, one thing became clear. Jackie Christie was no longer just a celebrity. She had become a cautionary tale. Meanwhile, Doug was spotted weeks later, visiting the young woman quietly, no cameras, no entourage. They sat in a park, faces turned away from the public, speaking softly, awkwardly. Witnesses said they hugged before parting. No one knows what was said that day. But one onlooker claimed Doug left with tears in his eyes. As the music fades and the narrator's voice settles into a low whisper, the final line lingers like a warning to everyone watching. In Hollywood, redemption doesn't come cheap, and love isn't always loyal. Jackie Christie, fallen icon. Doug's secret revealed. A family torn apart by the truth. Each headline flickers, then dissolves into static. A slow piano melody begins. Haunting, beautiful final, the narrator's voice returns, calm yet heavy with emotion. In the end, it wasn't fame that broke them. It was silence. The secrets they buried, the lies they lived, and the love they lost along the way. Clips of Jackie's tearful video fade in, her shaking hands, her voice cracking as she whispers goodbye. Then, a shot of Doug walking alone through a parking lot at night, a lone streetlight above him, his shadow stretching long. They built an empire on loyalty and watched it crumble under truth. The music swells. Then, a final beat. Silence. And as Jackie disappears from the spotlight, another Hollywood marriage begins to crack. A brief flash, a red carpet photo, two smiling faces, one headline half blurred. Next week, the secret that could end it all.